Australia is one of the world's largest countries by area, so large that it could hold 2 countries the size of India. Yet, remarkably, 95% of Australia's land is uninhabited. Its population is highly concentrated in just 5 main cities: Sydney, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, and Melbourne, which collectively occupy less than 1% of the country's area. This unique distribution of people in Australia has historical, cultural, and geographical reasons behind it. Originally, Australia was home to Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islanders who lived off the land, relying on natural resources for food, shelter, and medicine. They had a deep spiritual connection with the land, viewing it as a shared resource rather than something to be owned. However, when British settlers arrived in 1788, they viewed Australia as terra nullius, a Latin term meaning land belonging to no one, since they didn't recognize Aboriginal land ownership. This assumption opened the door for Britain to establish penal colonies, where convicts were sent to serve labor sentences and contribute to British interests in Australia. The British arrival brought not only colonization but also diseases like smallpox, measles, and bronchitis, which were previously unknown to Aboriginal communities and to which they had no immunity. These diseases led to widespread death, wiping out approximately 50% of the Aboriginal population in some areas within a year. Over the following decades, this population drastically declined due to disease, displacement, and violence. The British settlers expanded their control over Australia, erecting fences and claiming large tracts of land, pushing Aboriginal people out of their territories. Conflict escalated, leading to wars that lasted over a century, and during this time, up to 90% of the indigenous population was lost. The demographic changes were further compounded by policies and wars. During World War I and World War II, many Australians were sent to fight, with a significant number not returning, which heavily impacted the male population. Afterward, the White Australia policy of 1901 restricted non-European immigration, further shaping Australia's current demographics. Geographically, Australia's climate and landscape play a significant role in population distribution. The country's center is largely desert, while its fertile lands and fresh water sources are concentrated in the coastal regions. The Western Plateau, covering most of the land, is arid, making habitation difficult. The central lowlands have saline, unfit for agriculture rivers, while the eastern highlands face extreme weather, including cyclones and floods due to Australia's position near the equator. Australia experiences harsh droughts, and some regions have been declared drought zones. Meanwhile, salt levels in the soil and rivers further restrict agriculture. The geographical and climatic challenges have led most of Australia's population to settle along the coastline, where they can access the resources needed for sustainable living. In short, a combination of colonization's lasting impacts, harsh climate conditions, and limited habitable land has left vast regions of Australia